Cardi B scrolled through her phone one lazy morning in Atlanta, sipping her iced coffee. A headline popped up, Nicki Minaj's BBL disaster, fans concerned after shocking photos leak. Cardi smirked, her nails tapping against the glass of her phone. Damn, they really did her dirty, she muttered, but her smirk widened. She remembered all the years of shade, the tension at award shows, the subtle digs in interviews. To Cardi, this was karma on full display. Later that day, Cardi went live on Instagram. With tens of thousands of fans watching, she didn't hold back. Listen, I told y'all, you can't be out here acting like the queen forever when your crown's slipping, you heard? Some people so busy worrying about me, my music, my life, but look at them now. Botched and bitter. Y'all better pray for her, 'cause Kenneth ain't around no more either. Clips of the live instantly went viral. Cardi's words were brutal, but fans ate it up. Hashtags like hashtag Cardi SLAMS Nicki and hashtag Botched BBL Queen trended for days. Meanwhile in Los Angeles, Nicki Minaj sat in her mansion, scrolling through the storm of tweets, TikToks, and memes. Her once flawless image was now reduced to jokes about her surgery gone wrong. But that wasn't the worst of it. Kenneth had walked out a week earlier after a bitter argument. He left her with the kids, claiming he was done with the drama. The silence in her home was louder than any diss Cardi could ever throw. Nights were spent pacing, staring at the dim glow of her phone, wondering how it all unraveled so fast. Nicki tried to put on a brave face for her son, but the pressure weighed heavy. Without Kenneth's presence, the loneliness deepened. Bills weren't an issue, she was rich, but the emotional cost was enormous. Her team urged her to get back in the studio, to reclaim her throne. Yet every time she tried to write, her mind wandered back to Cardi's words. Botched and bitter. The phrase haunted her. Weeks later, Cardi was booked for a major festival. In true Cardi fashion, she doubled down on her shade. On stage, she teased a freestyle. Queens fall when they fake, crowns heavy when they break. I ain't botched, I'm real, don't make me demonstrate. The crowd erupted. Cameras flashed. Social media exploded again. But in the shadows, Nicki began plotting. Broken but not beaten, she knew she couldn't let Cardi's words define her forever. She started seeing new doctors, preparing a quiet comeback, one that would stun everyone. As Nicki fought her way through recovery, physically, mentally, and emotionally, rumors swirled about Kenneth living his best life elsewhere. But Nicki refused to let her story end there. She poured her pain into new lyrics, darker and rawer than ever before. Her fans, the Barbs, stood by her, flooding timelines with messages of support. Slowly, she began to heal. Slowly, she began to remember who she was. Months later, whispers in the industry began, could there be a reconciliation? A joint performance? Nobody knew for sure, but one thing was clear, Cardi's slam had shaken Nicki, and Kenneth's absence had left her struggling. Yet, deep inside, Nicki Minaj was still a fighter. And fighters don't stay down forever. By the end of summer, the music industry was buzzing with whispers. Nicki Minaj had gone quiet for months, but insiders claimed she was recording in secret. Her pain, her struggles, even Kenneth walking out, it was all fueling her pen like never before. Cardi, meanwhile, was on top of the world. Her singles were charting, her festival performances viral, and her fans were enjoying every second of her reign. Every time Nicki's name came up, Cardi supporters chanted, "It's over for her." But deep down, Cardi wondered, was Nicki really done? One Friday night, a rough track leaked online. Nicki's voice cut through like thunder. Left me high, left me dry, but I'm stronger on my own. Queens don't crumble, we rebuild thrones. The verse spread like wildfire. Fans claimed Nicki was finally addressing Kenneth's departure and Cardi's shade. The Barbs flooded Twitter with, "She's back," while Barty Gang dismissed it as desperation. But no one could deny it, Nicki sounded hungry again. Meanwhile, Kenneth's name kept popping up in gossip blogs. Pictures of him with different women surfaced, painting him as carefree while Nicki carried the burden of home and career. Nicki ignored the noise, but at night, she stared at those photos, anger simmering in her chest. Kenneth leaving was painful, but his absence became her fuel. Every lyric she wrote dripped with venom, not just for him, but for anyone who thought she was finished. Months later, the unthinkable happened. A major award show reached out. What if Cardi and Nicki performed together? It sounded insane, impossible even. Two rivals, one stage. Cardi's team laughed at the idea at first, but the potential numbers, the ratings, the buzz, were undeniable. Cardi grinned when her manager told her, "Let's do it. I want to look her in the eye on that stage." Nicki hesitated. But after a long silence, she whispered, "Tell them yes." Behind closed doors, the tension was unbearable. The first rehearsal was icy. Cardi cracked jokes, Nicki stayed stone-faced. But as the days went on, something shifted. The music forced them to sync, their flows interlocking, their movements on stage becoming sharper. The industry held its breath. Would they implode, or would they shock the world? The award show arrived. The lights dimmed. A beat dropped, half Cardi, half Nicki. Cardi stormed the stage first, spitting her verse with fire. The crowd screamed. Then, suddenly, the lights shifted pink, and Nicki appeared, draped in a glittering gown, her presence commanding. For a moment, the world stopped. They didn't hug. They didn't smile. But they performed. Two queens, side by side, delivering bars sharp enough to slice the tension in the arena. The crowd went wild. Twitter exploded. We just witnessed history. Two legends, one stage. Backstage, the silence was thick. Cardi wiped sweat from her face, smirked, and said, "You held your own, I'll give you that." Nicki, exhausted but glowing, replied, "And you loud, but I been knew that." For the first time, there wasn't hate in their eyes, just a strange kind of respect. The future was uncertain. Would they ever truly be friends? Probably not. But one thing was clear, neither was ready to give up the crown.